Okay, perfect. So we are live. So a very warm good morning and good afternoon to all of you, depending upon the time zone you are in. First of all, I would like to take this opportunity to say thank you so much for taking out time today. And we have great set of individuals and minds on the panel with us today, all from different verticals. And this next 60 minutes is going to be a great session. Without further ado, I would like to start this panel discussion with formal introduction of our panelist. Uh, First of all, we have Josh Felber with us. Josh is the CMO at Primal Life Organic. Josh has been a speaker, a growth hacker, and he has been working in the digital marketing space and has been a serial entrepreneur based out of Ohio. And has been instrumental in the field of digital marketing and social media strategies. And being a serial entrepreneur with 28 years, 28 plus years of starting and growing multi-million dollar companies, he has been a best-selling author as well. And he has been an Emmy Award winner for a documentary, Visioneer, about Peter Diamandis. He has also received Telly Award for his documentary, and he has been voted the best personal finance expert. He has been an expert guest on NBC, CBS, ABC, and Fox, and he has been a keynote speaker in several TV shows. Josh, it's a pleasure to have you with us today. Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Wonderful. The next we have on the panel with us is Eric Williams. Eric is the founder and creative director of the Silver Room. Silver Room is an innovative retail, arts, and education space. Silver Room intersects the world of fashion, music, and visual art and act as a boutique, gallery, and community art center. William spearheads the Silver Room block party 16th year, and it has grown to a community of 40,000 people. And Eric is having a degree in finance from the University of Illinois at Chicago. And Eric is doing tremendous work by working in this field of kind of intersecting fashion, music, and visual arts together. Eric, very warm welcome to the panel discussion.
Thank you.
Wonderful. The next we have on the panel with us is Colin. Colin Stuckert is the founder and CEO at Wild Foods, and he's based out of Austin, Texas. Wild Food is a superfood ingredient company specializing in naturally sourced products from small producers around the world. Colin's mission is to help 5 million people live the wild lifestyle full of health, ingredient, and optimal nutrition. Their mission, they believe in humans are designed by nature for nature, and the closer our food is to nature, the better. And they focus on everyday wild foods, and all of their food products are derived from ingredients as close to nature as possible, and that's their amazing philosophy behind their business. Colin, welcome to the panel discussion this morning.
Thanks for having me.
Wonderful. Next we have on the panel with us is Martez Prince. Martez is the president at Premier Pharmacy and Wellness Center. And Martez has begun his pharmacy career at the age of 16 and has been running this independent pharmacy before attending Florida A&M University, where he graduated from the College of Pharmacy and Pharmaceutical Sciences with a doctorate in pharmacy. Upon graduating, he moved to Charlotte, North Carolina to work for a big box retailer as a community pharmacist, where he excelled among his peers in service and helping patients achieve their wellness goal. Dr. Prince has also been quoted in more than 90 publications, and he has been featured in NBC Health News and other notable publications as well. And Dr. Prince lives by the famous quote of Dwayne The Rock Johnson, which states that success isn't always about greatness, it's about consistency. Consistent hard work leads to success, greatness will come. So thank you so much, Martez, for joining us this morning. I must say this is going to be an amazing session. Without further ado, I would like to start with this first question for all of you, which is purpose. Uh, Without purpose, we are nothing. So I would like to know from each of you, what is the purpose of your brand and how it helps the world at large. Maybe I can begin with Martez to begin with.
Okay, thank you. So yes, so the purpose of my brand, which is Premier Pharmacy and Wellness Center, or the Premier brand, not only do we run a independent pharmacy, but we also have a nonprofit as well that focus on providing total wellness and helping individuals live their best life. And so I started this in 2015 after noticing that there was a gap in the community where individuals would go and receive different like health care. However, the true empowerment came in the form of education. So with my brand, it's about empowering individuals through education and allowing them to live their best life in their lifestyle. While, you know, so we're building healthier communities, we're guiding them to greater health through education, and that's key.
Wonderful. That's a great thought there. Amazing, Martez. Let me come to Josh. Josh, if you can shed some light on the purpose of your brand.
Thanks. Primal Life Organics, the purpose, when my wife started it, was being able to create 100% natural products to help people with oral care, skin care and everything, heal and just improve their overall life. So we make and manufacture all kinds of natural dental care, skin care products and everything that when used gives you the ability to improve your overall health. And so.
Wow. Amazing. Excellent. And I mean, very much needed in today's time, keeping in mind the challenges that we have. Amazing. Let me come to Eric. Very amazing. Like you are working with the community, and I think would like to know your purpose as well.
Sure. The first thing that came to mind is a platform and also inspiration. You know, it's a retail space, it's a physical space, but we're a platform for artists to be able to perform, to be able to, you know, write books and have a community. It's also a platform for folks to make money, you know, which is very important, you know, in our community in the South Side of Chicago. So I feel like it's been a source for inspiration for a lot of people that can see something beautiful in some ways, in some neighborhoods that don't always have that kind of beauty. So I look at myself and our business as a source for inspiration for others to do, you know, things in their own lives.
Excellent. Amazing. That's great. Colin, how about you?
Well, a lot of the same theme as everyone else. I mean, at the end of the day, it's about helping people live better. And so for me, I kind of sometimes say like, I'm trying to like use really quality ingredients to kind of trick people into just creating better routines around their health and lifestyle. And, you know, I focus more on where we came from as a species and, you know, the ancestral mindset, you know, how we're designed, how the modern environment is mismatched. And, you know, there's like all those rabbit holes can go down, but at the end of the day, it's like if people can just be empowered to take back control of their health, make decisions for themselves, do their own research, critically think, not just listen to what the news says or the politicians say, you know, that's how people are going to be able to take control of their health.
Excellent. Amazing thought there. And I must say this is kind of very much needed in today's time where I think we have to empower the minds, and that can happen through education, through quality foods and natural products. Definitely. I think, and all of you are being in the retail space. I think after establishing a brand, there must be tremendous challenges that probably one has to overcome. So my next question for the panelists is, once you establish your brand, what are some of the strategies that you have adopted to kind of scale up your business to take it to the next level in terms of, let's say, digital marketing or in terms of branding or positioning? So what marketing strategies have you adopted to reach a threshold where we can say that, okay, you have a very solid presence in the business field? Maybe I can ask this to Josh first.
Sure. One of the big things that we've done over the years is a lot of education. So my wife's background is a nurse and nurse anesthetist and everything. And so making sure that people are actually educated, kind of similar to what Colin was saying earlier, understanding what they're putting in, what they're putting on their bodies, what they're, obviously utilizing as their personal care products, and understanding the difference of that pseudo natural to truly natural to the toxic junk. And so, I mean, we do weekly, multiple times throughout the week, Facebook Lives and tons of YouTube content. And a lot of our post-purchase email sequences are all designed around educational content and helping people, through the process of improving their health through the use of our products and everything.
Wonderful. How about you, Eric? How do you kind of engage with your target audience? Like it's like a great you're operating in an offline environment, retail space. So how do you engage with your target audience?
So the retail space is 22 years old, and our online presence hasn't been as strong, as our physical space. So only in the last couple of years have I really thought about how to mimic or translate this visceral community space onto an online platform. So from a physical standpoint, we do events. We do a lot of engagement, with people. As you mentioned earlier, we're known for this big block party we do, which started with 200 people, which is now about 45,000 people, as a way to bring people together. So now it's a matter of how do you translate that kind of community onto an online space, which is very different, for me actually. But we have, trying to build our social media presence, obviously, through email marketing, all the things that, that Josh just mentioned. That's what we're working on right now. Just so for me, the word is community, like folks learning from one another. So it's not just us, actually, it's other folks, putting ideas and being able to have a platform that others can share.
Great. Excellent. Colin, my next question for you is, you are in a very unique space, and especially, so online is one of that channel which has a lot of competition, definitely. So how do you find a niche for yourself? How do you position your brand, and how has kind of online store helped you in reaching out to, maybe because it's like so different states, target audience is different. So how is your online store is able to reach out to your target audience? Like what kind of marketing do you do for your online store?
Yeah, so this, I mean, I don't know how in the weeds you want to get with this, but I'll just give you the quick backstory. When we launched Wild Foods, it was kind of at the Wild West for Amazon FBA, right? And so we grew our business on Amazon, just kind of really trying to dial that in. I didn't mess with any DTC stuff. I didn't mess with like my own website. I mean, it was probably a year into the business before we even had our own separate website. And then we spread out a little bit, and we did that, and we kind of rode the Amazon wave. And even to this day, I mean, we do a lot of our business on Amazon, but I made a conscious effort to take people from Amazon and direct them back to our DTC e-commerce brand. There were inserts and emails and education and YouTube and podcasting and literally probably too many things, to be honest.
Wonderful.
What I learned through that process, and something that I try to iterate to any aspiring entrepreneur, business owner, or anything, is simplicity and focus. Yeah. And so like if I would have maybe had 10 products on Amazon instead of like the 50 we ended up with, and I could have put all of my efforts and finances into that 10, right? I mean, the business would probably be 5 to 10x what it is today. Like we kind of went a little wide, and it kind of, as a result, we got stretched thin. Yes. And so, in retrospect, it's like, yeah, I should have easily done those 10 products or whatever. And so I guess the advice would be like, figure out what that one customer acquisition strategy is and just like nail it, like get it. I mean, go so deep to the polls, go as extreme as you can, because if you think about the way the internet works, like you said, competition, everybody's doing a lot of everything a little bit. And so there's a lot of noise, and the people that are getting results in the different kind of, whether it's Facebook ads or Amazon or this or DTC, they're kind of just doing that one thing, right? So when you get that one thing and you go really, really deep and focus, like for the, that's really what the internet should be. Instead, we get this idea that the internet should be like everything and do a little bit of all of it. And that's just that's delusional, basically. I don't know if that answers the question.
Yes, absolutely. So you kind of focused on the channel initially, like Amazon worked really well for you, and then how you kind of allowed your consumers to transition from the Amazon marketplace to your D2C e-store. Amazing. That's a great way to kind of pivot, I can say. It's basically like a data-driven approach, like how you see what's happening and accordingly you figure out. Amazing. Martez, you are in a very unique space of health and wellness through your business. How do you engage with your consumers? Definitely, for the wellness business, I think quality and consistency is the key. So, what kind of strategies do you adopt to engage with your target audience?
Yes. So we opened our physical location in 2015. And although we had a website during that time, we were not participating in any e-commerce or anything like that. It's something that we always kind of wanted to do. However, with expanding just outside of the community right here in Charlotte, North Carolina, we started to notice that we got followers on social media from all over the world. We would go viral on different platforms, and we used that to leverage our business. And so we got a lot of telephone calls and emails and, website hits, individuals asking us if we can service their area. And so although we don't service prescriptions to all those different areas or medications, what we decided to do was take advantage of the opportunity to educate the public by hosting seminars and Facebook Lives and everything, getting individuals aware of what's going on. And then we built a e-commerce store that individuals can then purchase products on, things that we talk about, things that we recommend, and everything, because once again, it's all about education. So we utilize the power of educating not only Charlotte in the physical, but the whole entire world through the internet, and then having a space where we could drive them back to, and they can shop, they can build a community and live their best life together in that community.
Excellent, amazing. The last 5 to 6 months have been challenging, especially for all the businesses, but definitely with the challenges, there are opportunities. And my next question for all of you is, how was the business in the last 5 to 6 months? Have you seen like a sudden surge in demand for your products, or like how much traction have you gained during this period because of the offline world suddenly taking a pause and you having a great online presence? How was the business for you for the last 5 to 6 months? Maybe I can go to Josh.
Overall, we've, business has been up. More recently, over the last few months, we've just seen some weird dips where things really just drop off for 2 or 3 days. And it's like all the platforms are like flat. You're like, what the heck happened? So, but overall, up. I mean, we made a few pivots during that time. We had some products that kind of doubled as natural hand sanitizers, so people didn't have to use all the alcohol junk. And now there's like, I think 133 on this list of alcohol sanitizer products that are actually bad for you and that they pushed out. So we just kind of pivoted on a few areas, drove those out, during that time. And, overall, I mean, personal care purchasing is up, especially online. And we work with a pretty big data aggregation company. They do a lot of surveys and things like that. And just kind of we're utilizing a lot of that data to make sure we're focusing the right message out there. Because a lot of it shifted from family and safety to, now more it's, people are more focused kind of tightly, a little bit holding on to money right now. And kind of seeing what's going to happen over the next month or so. And so it's a little different approach. And so it's kind of changing up some of our marketing strategies and things like that to connect with people. So
that's good. Okay. So okay. That's amazing. Interesting. I'll come back to you with a follow-up question on that. Eric, since you moved from you have a solid offline presence and then you suddenly have your online presence as well. So how was the business for you in the last 6-7 months? Because that's the only channel through which you can connect with your audience. So has it grown? Has it dipped? How was the numbers for being?
Yeah, wow. It's been a very interesting last 6 months. So the timing of everything was kind of serendipitous. We really just started to ramp up our online presence with a whole new site in February, honestly. And so our physical store shut down in mid-March, and it was just, luckily we had everything in place. I had to let go,
Yeah.
obviously, employees in the physical store, and I kept on my social media person and my online person, and that was that helped us to sustain while we were closed. We really focused on actually pivoting from just putting out products to information. So it was a whole different kind of strategy that we started using, especially after the murder of George Floyd and all the reaction to that and the uprisings. And, I said, let's just not sell products. Let's just be a platform for the community. Where to get mental health resources, where to find loans, PPA information. So that actually helped us tremendously. So we weren't even promoting the products. It was more so, come here to be a platform for information, come here to be a community. You have folks who were struggling, out of work, and we had like games you could play online. We were posting funny videos. So again, it wasn't really about selling our products, but folks were coming to our site more than ever, actually, just to have a sense of relief. Also, I also DJ. We were doing like live DJ sets, So again, it was just something that was very different from just selling products. After we reopened, we actually have had our 3 busiest months ever in 22 years, the last 2 months. Wow. And some of that was actually in response to the protests. And again, being on the south side of Chicago, we were listed on a lot of like websites and buying Black and supporting Black businesses. That was incredible, honestly, in the month of June. So I think between the pandemic and racial unrest, it's helped my business, honestly, in some ways. I think because we set ourselves up to be this voice before these 2 things happen. So that's
absolutely. That's good. I think for the economic engine to run smoothly, ultimately it's the business community which empowers not just the consumers, but is ultimately the different stakeholders, because everyone is so interconnected with everyone. And it's amazing. Last 6 months, I must say, has been challenging for everyone. But I think with the right strategies, I think the consumer engagement can still happen. And we are living in a time where technology is such a great enabler that you can pivot overnight or transition. Launching a store is so easy these days. And with the support that it offers, with the ecosystem which is so evolved of technology export, digital marketing exports, I think it's very easy to kind of take it to the next level. My next question to Colin is, Colin, for your food business, for the products that you have, which platform do you use for your online store, and why you have chosen that particular platform? How it you in scaling up?
So we use Shopify pretty much because it's a standard. It's got the most plugins and support and coders and designers and everything. We were actually on Squarespace because I like the fact that I could do a lot of the content myself. And so what we decided to do was actually split our content site from our e-commerce, which is pretty popular nowadays. And so now we've moved all of our content to Webflow, which is kind of a more robust offering where we can edit and do it quite a bit. And then on the e-commerce side, it's separate, straight Shopify, just straight Shopify.
Great. Shopify. How about you, Martez? Which platform do you use for your online store?
Yes, so we've actually utilized both Shopify and Squarespace as well. With Squarespace being, once again, so easy to update for us, like during the pandemic, as we would get PPE and get that out to the community, we were able to update that like instantly and have individuals to direct individuals to that website. So for us, it's like just the easy use of it, and anyone in our organization can go in and make adjustments like and the like the smart here, all trying to just really find PPE since it was in such limited supply, and it was coming in daily, and we wanted to get that information out as quick as possible.
Great. Shopify. How about you, Josh? What platform do you use for your store?
Sure. Our main store is on Shopify. We also use ClickFunnels. We run a lot of traffic through different funnels that we have out there for affiliates and DTC ad spend and stuff. And then all of our CBD stuff sits on Square. So we use Square for that, for the merchant processing side and basic, easy store setup.
Great. Eric, how about you? Since you launched your online store recently, which platform have you chosen?
Shopify also, because it's easily to to integrate into our brick and mortar store. We'd already had it anyway on the brick and mortar, and our shipping department is across the street from our retail store. So it's just easy to use it. It's very user friendly. I'm not a tech person by any stretch, and I can figure it out. So yeah,
great, amazing. Yeah, I think ease of use is really the key there. I think for Shopify, it has really empowered, I must say, because the way their ecosystem has evolved. So amazing. Glad to know that. My next question for all of you is, what is the vision that you have for your brand for the next 5 years? Because we are living in very dynamic world and things are changing every day. And having that vision, like all of you have a very strong purpose of why you launched your business. So what is your vision for your brand for the next 5 years? Like you want to become that $100 million business in the next 5 years, or so what is that vision that you guys have thought of for your individual businesses? Maybe I can come to Colin first.
Yeah, Colin. That's a tough question because I've thought about this a lot, and I've thought about bringing on investors, eventually selling, doing all these different things. And I kind of like the idea of being a smaller, just kind of agile business that can do the things I want to do and stick to our mission, right? Because when you involve investors and the bigger you go, the more profit and margin is a thing. And usually quality is what takes the hit. You know, if you want scale, usually quality goes. And so, I mean, that's not true of everything. There's definitely ways to do it, but I don't know if I would ever see Wild being a, like, you know, $100 million, the biggest brand in the space or anything like that. I guess it's possible, but what I would really like to do is I'd like to get in retail, maybe some small organic retailers, and maybe even like a national distribution where I can have a couple products on the shelves to just kind of catch people passing by and then say, oh, that's an interesting label. What's that about? And then they get pulled into the Wild brand, thus mission. And then they get the lifestyle to go with it. Right. So again, it's like I'm using food and supplements to get people to completely change the way they think about lifestyle. And so for me, it's like, I'd love if I could get 100 million Americans eating real food. Right. But it's so it's hard to answer that because, like, I don't know if that's crazy pie in the sky stuff or if that's, you know, totally possible. Like, I guess it's possible. I definitely need to work that out on my own time.
Yeah, that's a good thought process, definitely, because ultimately it's like no one knows what's there. Like from you already have started and you have already reached some point, but that's not the end. It's always the beginning. So like the vision is kind of a guiding light for a business. So, but great thought that you have there. Like you have already thought of like, okay, my target audience is this and what I'm looking for. So I think those small things can ultimately connect the dots in the right direction. Great. How about you, Josh? If I may come to you, and like for you, you already established now. What are you thinking for the next 5 years?
Yeah, no, good question. I mean, we've mapped a lot of this out over the last year or so. I mean, our biggest thing is we've been on e-com for the longest time. And about a year ago, we started to move forward into retail. So we just landed distribution in Palco, which is one of the big natural chain distribution partners. Picked up Natural Grocers, which all of our products launch, or not all, but a good handful of our dental products launch in there January 1 in all their stores. And then we're in a good number of other natural retailers. So we're making a big push into the retail front, continuously increasing our subscriptions. So one of our targets is moving to, to that 100 million goal. We've recently put together our board. We have one outstanding person that we're shortly bringing on, but I mean, we have people like Dave Asprey and a guy named Jim Morrison, who's ex-president of L'Oreal, all the way down to people in the CPG space for 30 plus years. And so we're trying to move in that direction to position ourselves overall, either potentially for an acquisition or something like that down the road. I mean, my wife and I mean, we love what we're doing. We love what we're doing, but as we've bootstrapped it since day one. So, and you always, as owners, you get into that same position where it's like you start to spend, but then you got to pull back. You start to spend, you got to pull back.
Yeah.
And it makes it tough to continue to grow and sustain overall. And so just, we're looking for, an opportunity to be able to position it, still own it, but then, that way we can maintain the guidance of it. And, as Colin said,
have you raised funding?
What's that?
Have you raised funding for your business?
No, not yet. So actually, we are getting ready to do a Reg CF here shortly here, probably by the time this comes out. So,
Oh, okay, got it. Okay, cool. Yeah, that's a great thought there, because ultimately for that like hyper growth, definitely you need that funding in order to kind of reach that target audience. And I mean ultimately once you have a established business for that hyper growth, you can, there are several channels to engage with the target audience. So how about you, Martez? Like what's your vision? Because you already have a very solid presence, solid engagement with the consumers, and I think ultimately health and wellness is something which is the most hot topic these days. So what do you think about your vision?
Yes, so we feel like the model in which we have here at Premier Pharmacy and Wellness Center is one that can be very successful in a lot of different communities. However, as I'm sure everyone on the panel knows, like when you're running a business in a day-to-day operation, it can become very, very like tiring and draining.
Yeah.
However, it's the passion that keeps you going. And so in January, we had the ability to host a special event for Oprah, and she came on and she endorsed us, saying that our model that we had here at Premier Pharmacy and Wellness Center was a model that the world could actually use. We have a space where we not only work with pharmacists, but we have pharmacists, nurse practitioners, physicians. We all work in one space to basically educate and empower the patient, give them the best outcomes. And we're in where patients could actually access us easily, like usually underserved areas, like on the cusp of underserved and, you know, affluent areas. So everyone, we're a pharmacy that everyone can utilize and benefit from. It's just not many pharmacies or healthcare services like this that also focus on the affordability part as well. So we service a lot of individuals that are uninsured or that have gaps in their insurance. They can still come and get services from us. So what we're looking to do is actually bring that to more neighborhoods across the franchise.
Okay, got it. Great thought there. Eric, how about you? With the offline presence that you had, you establish your business, and with the online, you can definitely have a long way to go in terms of the engagement. So what is your vision for the brand?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think much like Colin was saying, you know, like you think about how do you scale but still stay true to the brand. I mean, we've had a very strong presence here in Chicago as a physical store. You know, people wanted to come together and meet. And how do you, you know, again, how do you mimic that and recreate that online? So I think that's my main, you know, I wouldn't say challenge, but that's my main a goal in the next 5 years is to scale and still stay true to what I'm trying to do. Also, I want to broaden, you know, the scope of what we do as a retailer, being in fashion to media, actually. And I saw that a lot, you know, the last few months of us just putting out information, you know, a radio, just putting out music that makes people feel good, you know, putting out, you know, little videos, you know, being an aggregator for people in Chicago who want to, you know, write and all kind of stuff. So just kind of like, you know, being a media platform that we can speak the language of what we do in fashion and, you know, but in other aspects of life. And it's interesting that the other three panelists are work in health and wellness, which is something I'm very passionate about. You know, we do yoga inside the boutique. We have mental health talks inside the boutique. We talk about, you know, diet and losing weight, you know, in terms of how that, you know, helps a person's body when it comes to fashion. You know what I mean? So that's actually something I'm very interested in is health and wellness you know, as a complement to what we do in fashion and arts and culture. Because you can't do any of that if you're not healthy, and especially, you know, in the Black community, you know, in our neighborhoods, diabetes is rampant. I mean, obesity, all these things. So these are discussions that we have in the store when people come in to buy a pair of earrings. You know, well, how can I lose weight? How can I get better shape? You know, so those things are not separate. They actually work hand in hand. So I think that's something I really want to focus on.
Great thought process there. Amazing. My next question to all of you is, like, for a business, in consumer engagement is the key. Like once you have acquired your customers, retention is the key for getting the maximum lifetime value. And that's how you can make your business profitable in the long run. So for, especially in the e-commerce space, since there's a lot of competition, consumers have a lot of choices, but retention, if your retention rate is high, that's when you can definitely say that, okay, your business is profitable, your business is growing. So what is your retention strategy? Because you already have your data points, you already know how much consumer base you have. What is typically your churn rate, and what is your retention strategy for the consumers that you have already acquired? Maybe I would go to Josh.
Sure. So I mean, our retention strategies, a little bit of what I mentioned earlier about the educational side. So, we take them through a 30-day post-purchase, providing them education on whatever specific area that they bought. So whether it was dental or skincare or whatever. And then, from there, they move into an additional email sequence, just providing additional value and everything. And then through our use of the continued education, tons of free information that we put out there all the time. And then we do a lot of direct DTC retargeting and stuff. I mean, just to keep people, aware of it through native and different platform retargetings besides the standard Facebook and Instagram, Google.
How has been your churn rate so far for the business, for your online store?
Sure. I mean, actually, it's kind of interesting because at one point, we actually had been losing a lot of customers. And when we started to scrub and go back and really figure out what it was, so we make everything right here. We ship everything from here. We used to have a full customer service team here and all of our marketing team right here in Akron, Ohio. So we do everything. Yeah. And one of our biggest challenges over the years has always been customer service and maintaining quality customer service. And until about 6 months ago, we've tested different groups and everything, but we finally moved our customer service out of here and just have one point person. And like all of our customer service ratings have skyrocketed now. Instead of like 8 out of 10 that were bad, we have like 1 maybe out of 10 kind of a thing, and it's usually the package didn't get delivered to the right address, or USPS screwed it up. So that's been a huge shift for us, being able to do that and retain customers that have been with us. And then we have a lot of customers, hundreds, I would say, out of hundreds of thousands, but hundreds that have spent 5 figures with us. So, I mean, they've been with us and have spent, at least 10,000 or more in personal care products. And so those are, some of the different strategies we've used. That was one of a challenge that we hit and that we were able to fix through, adjusting our customer service and improving our customer service and everything overall. And, a lot of times you think, cool, you want to have everything as you can in-house, but then there's certain pieces of it that are better off, outsourced, because that's what they specialize in. That's what they do. And so we were able to continue to provide the best value from there.
Great. So that's amazing. So you are taking that approach in order to retain those customers, which are like high value. And ultimately, every customer matters in the space. So amazing. How about you, Martez? You definitely have like a solid consumer base. How is your churn rate for your online store, and how do you retain your consumers? Colin? Sorry, Martez.
Well, by basically staying in contact with those customers, making sure that the service that we provide to them is up to par and up to our brand as well. So showing the patient, the customers, that we actually care about them when they have a issue or a concern, really like addressing it in a more personal matter. And then also, letting them enjoy specials from time to time, and letting them also be the first to get certain information, so they feel like they are part of a community, they're special, that they are, because their loyalty, they're getting certain perks for their loyalty as well. And we have a pretty solid customer retention. Customers always, even if sometimes they have to pay more, it's the fact that they appreciate the good service and they return time after time again, whether it's on store or in store as well.
Amazing. How about you, Colin? Because you have a niche business, and I think your target audience, the buyer persona for the products that someone who is buying from your store, must be unique. So like retaining is gonna be a key in profitability. So how is your churn rate and retention strategy?
I have no idea what my churn rate is. Okay.
Oh,
We don't
okay.
have as much subscription. So it's like, it's that thing, but I do know one thing, our LTV is very high. So like you mentioned, Josh has some customers that have spent over $10,000 with the brand. It's true for us as well. I mean, I have some people that will buy almost every single month of the year, like calendar year, right? So we have the benefit of being kind of a recurring product that you need consistently. Like if you have a supplement or food that you're using, it's part of your morning routine or night routine. Like when you run out, you buy it again. And most people just want simplicity. And so like, I have a couple things on this. Josh mentioned that he outsources customer service. So I answered every customer email for the first 3 years of our business, even after we had reached the $1 million mark over multiple times. I think you should do that as a founder for as long as you can for a couple of reasons, right? And then you absolutely, when it hits a certain point, you have to outsource it or you have to like hire somebody to take it over or whatever. But like, even now when I try to go into our emails and we have a team doing it, I'm just like, guys, just like send them a free product. Don't ask me, do it. Like, be empowered, take care of them, make them feel good. It's all the same stuff. This is the reason small businesses are the best. And that's what we need America to have more of, is because the owners are passionate, they care, and they have products and services that benefit their customers. Like that's the whole thing. Right. So I think answering email for as long as possible, because then you can build systems about maybe a common Q&A, frequently asked questions, maybe an operation manual for your employees. So that if it's like a $20 purchase, just send them a new product. Don't even send an email. Just send them a new product and say, a new one's on the way. If there's anything else, let me know. End of email, close ticket. Like that kind of philosophy, right? And it's really hard for employees to do that because, like they don't feel empowered or they don't want to do it or they want to save money or whatever. But it's like that kind of caring for the customer, that kind of service that Martez was talking about. Like when you really get to having like a hospitality perspective, which is actually a really good book, Danny Meyer's book. I think it's called Hospitality or something like that. Big restaurateur in New York. He wrote the book on hospitality, literally. And it's hard to identify what that is. But like when you're really talking with someone and you're really showing you care and understand, you want to help them, and customers feel that, which always comes better from the owner or founder than it does for a employee, because it's just hard to replicate that. People really get it. I mean, they really, and being an Amazon business where reviews matter, I was like, I cannot give this to anybody else for the first 3 years of my business, right? Because that will reflect in the public listing. And then, then it's just bad news bears all around. So it's huge. That's just my advice on that. Like, do it first, then outsource it, automate it, and really empower your employees to just like free product, free shipping, make it as simple as possible. There's one more thing. I see customer service tickets that are like 8 emails deep. And I'm like, no, 2 max, right? Or get on the phone and just solve it. Usually it's like, what happened with this product and the tracking's here and this is there. When I get in and do the email, I'm like, okay, we're gonna send you a new one. I don't even have to look at the tracking. I don't care. If they end up with 2 products, guess what? They're twice as happy, right? Like, so it's like, you have to be willing to make those errors at times to give extra hospitality. And the best restaurants do that. You know how it is at a restaurant when they're like, we took that off for you. Don't even worry about it. When you have to ask to take it off the bill, you're like, oh, you get that feeling. But when they just take it off, that's service, that's hospitality.
Awesome. That's a great piece of advice, I must say. And I think a lot of businesses that's like delighting your customer. That's like a wow moment that you create. And that's how you retain them for a life. And amazing. I think that's a great takeaway that one can take from this discussion is like, how do you win your customers? And putting your customers first. I think this is like a philosophy that even Amazon follows. Like they still believe it's day one. And they just keep on excelling, kind of constantly improving their processes and constantly making sure that the consumers are always happy. Amazing thought there. Eric, for your business in the online world, where do you spend your marketing? Which particular channel do you use for advertisement? Do you use Google ads, Facebook ads, Instagram ads? Which channel has worked best for you so far?
Well, we just kind of started getting into the online world the last 6 months. So it's been Facebook ads, Instagram, I would say our 2 main channels, because that's what we kind of built a lot of the community from. And back to the other question, I was just thinking about it, about customer retention. Again, from a physical standpoint, it's been authenticity and consistency, to build trust. So again, we work in the world of fashion. We recently moved into selling books. We have about almost 200 book titles now. And because people trusted us with you know, with our jewelry, with our, you know, the backpacks and the hats, blah, blah, we started selling books that spoke the same language. They just buy the books sometimes without even knowing what they are, you know? And so that to me is what's important, because if we start selling some other merchandise, they'll just trust that, you know, that the product is going to be good no matter what. So for me, again, it's about building this community of trust.
Amazing, amazing. That's great. My next question for Josh is, Josh, you have like, how do you understand your consumers' behavior? Like, you have so much of data that's coming to your store. Every interaction is different. Every visitor is different. Every buyer is different. Everyone is spending different amount of money when they're coming and buying. Everyone's lifetime value is different. How do you understand your consumer behavior? Do you know set of customers that your business is about to lose, which are like that, or your business has already kind of on the verge of losing? Do you know that? How do you identify that?
So for us, I mean, for the longest time, we would survey, call, different things like that, just to try to connect and see who some of our customers are. Even that, you know, we went through our list of anybody that spent like 5 figures with us and why they've been with us so long, and, you know, really trying to understand, you know, who that person is. And then recently we worked with a pretty big data company. They used to basically do the last 20 years worth of presidential elections and help those presidents win. And so they're one of the largest data aggregators. And so they spun off an e-com program. And so we had them analyze all of our traffic coming to our site, all of our buyers, our high LTVs, our middle LTVs, and everything. Some fuzz. And so analyzed all that. And I mean, the report that they produced us was amazing, like all the way down to exactly like the wording somebody, you know, is looking for to hear, to like what channels they watch on Hulu and at what times of the day. And so that deep. And so that helps us from a DTC standpoint, with the identifying the message better, to making sure we're delivering that content on that platform. So like most of our buyers are on Pinterest over all the other platforms, but we were spending $1 million to $2 million a year in traffic on Facebook. Well, I mean, that's good, but I mean, if most of our buyers are over on Pinterest, then we want to, you know, start, now that Pinterest has a decent program, now we can start to spend more money on Pinterest and make sure we're dialing in the right demographics and everything. So
great, amazing. So yeah, so it's all data-driven approach that you have thought of there in order to learn the consumer behavior, because I think data is the key. It can give you those insights, and I think that's how you can spend your marketing dollar better, and that's how you can acquire those new customers and retain those customers over a period of lifetime. Amazing. Martez, how about you? Do you do digital advertising, and which platform do you spend your marketing dollars on?
Yes, we do. Most of the time we utilize Facebook and Instagram, just due to the fact of whenever someone starts to utilize our service, we ask them, like, you know, how did you discover us? And that's usually the platform in which they've seen us on. So we utilize, we make that a bigger part of our budget. We want to diversify and go into maybe Google and different things like that, so that we can potentially pick up an even different, you know, clientele market that we haven't already tapped into. But that's where we usually spend our marketing, our online marketing dollars.
Great. How about the number of products? Like, now, typically all of your online stores are in different verticals. So how many products do you have approximately on your online store? Is it in hundreds? Is it in thousands? How about you, Martez? How many products do you have listed on your online store?
Yeah, we have it's hundreds, if not maybe 1,000 or so, and and it really helps us, because even in our physical store, we don't carry all the products right here in store. We have so many different affiliations and different variations of products, being that we're in health and wellness, and individuals may be looking for something in particular. And so if we don't see that it's a product that's a quick, in our physical store, we carry most of the most common items and the quick movers, but online we carry like all the different variations through our like affiliate program and everything, because for us it's all about being convenient and increasing or improving that person's lifestyle. So if you don't have to like go from site to site shopping for all these different products that can come in one box or whatever it is, we try to do that for you.
So you said it's like 1,000. Is it? It's in thousands. Like
yeah. So we carry. We don't have any products that we make or that we've developed ourselves. What we do is we carry all products that are manufactured and by other individuals. So in our online, like our store here, we have about 1,000 different products in the store alone. And online, we carry even more variations of those different products to manage because of the fact that we buy from a bigger warehouse or we ship from a different distributor. So it's easier for us to do that. But once again, for us, it's more so about being able to provide that convenient factor for individuals who are visiting our site. So we get them there for the education, we're educating them, and then we're selling the product to them or allowing them to get whatever product we educate them on if they want to partake in that.
Absolutely. That's amazing. Because in the online space, the consumer's retentions, like the attention span, for example, maybe the moment they discover about your brand and they reach your online store, product discovery is the key for getting that high click-through rate and then kind of making that experience better, like from the visitor to the shopping experience, like that's the key where it kind of tells you whether your business is going to be profitable or not. And tremendously, it depends upon how quickly the consumer can find the right product, whether after they visited the store and let's say they may not be impulsive buyers, they might come back and buy at a different stage. So whether that personalization is happening, whether on the site or within the emails, that kind of plays a pivotal role. So do you guys, any of you do personalization on your online store or within the emails? Because that is something which is that's like a missing piece of puzzle for the growth. So do you do anything like that on your online store, or have you done that before? Maybe Colin, about you?
To the extent, probably the name at the top of emails that you can customize. But I mean, we haven't, like, I like getting in the weeds on this stuff, but I will just kind of remind everyone to always go back to the basics, like the basics of your brand, your mission. A good book that everyone should read is Simon Sinek's Start With Why. Like the reason that your business exists, that's why people buy. That's why people buy brands. That's why Nike doesn't, or Apple doesn't actually need like email marketing. Like they might send an email every time an iPhone comes out and that's it. Like people go to Apple, right? What you want to do is build a brand so that eventually none of this stuff really matters. And it's just kind of there. And people then go to you because they trust you, because you're a curator, because they want to see what you have to say and put out there, right? And another point on that, that's not really relevant to the question that I want to comment on that Eric mentioned about the kind of curation is like, that's a beautiful thing when you're like a curator and you're trusted as that. Like people go to the famous museums in the world because it's the Louvre or whatever. And whatever the Louvre decides to put in that museum is what you see, right? People will always go there, right? People will always go to some of the top brands, whether it's Oprah or whoever, because she's Oprah. Right. Yeah. She has that brand. Same thing with now Musk. Musk could literally say, I'm going to start a new company. We're going to make popsicles on Mars. And he would have thousands of investors lighting up. Like he has a brand. He can do anything he wants. You know what I'm saying? And I'm telling you, in the future of the internet, it's going to be a bunch of micro brands based on a single person, founder, right? That has a very strong why. Like that's the future. And so that's why, like, I always tell any business owner, like the more you can put your face there, or the more you can interact with customers or email them or events or whatever, are great because you get face to face. I'm telling you, that's always the core of any brand.
Amazing. Great thought there. Amazing. I must say this is an interesting conversation. And now that we are reaching to the end of this panel discussion, my last question for all of you is, we discussed about purpose, we discussed about vision, and all of you have very like an established brand presence, marketing strategies in place. You already are, who are your consumers, what are their personas, and you're doing all the right thing. And I think you have kind of learned these over the years. And what is that one piece of advice that you would like to give to entrepreneurs out there, to businesses out there, maybe who are in your space or maybe in different verticals? What is that? There can be different advices, but what is that one piece of takeaway that they can take from you, which they can implement within their business that can help them in taking their business to the next level from your learnings so far while running your businesses? Maybe I'll come to Eric if one piece of advice for budding entrepreneurs and businesses.
Sure. It sounds cliche, but really have a passion for what you're doing. Have a love for it. I didn't start this, I used to work in finance. I went from finance to fashion, not to get rich, but we're doing okay. But just to have a passion for what you're doing, and as I've been doing this for so long, really just understanding how you can really help people. I say, no matter what it is. I mean, all the other three guests are working in health and wellness. I'm working in fashion. Some folks are working in other industries, but how can what you do be a benefit to other people and be helpful? If you can combine this passion and also make some money from it, I feel like you can, that's the key to life.
Amazing. Excellent thought there. Thank you. Martez, how about you? One piece of advice from your experiences in the health and wellness space.
Yes, I would say definitely really know your why. Know why it is that you're doing this, because a lot of times in this, when you become an entrepreneur, there's a lot of moments that are very dark, but it's a passion that fuels you and that keeps you going. A lot of times when you want to give up because it just seems like it's so much work and you're not going to be able to get through it. It's that moment when you realize that I'm doing this because I want to see people live better. I'm doing this because I love the community. I know that I have a gift that I can give to the community, and then it all makes sense. And I'll say, if you ever do something because of the money, you won't go far. I mean, you can't be money driven. I remember when I did this whole pharmacy thing, I was just saying, well, I wanted to just at least be or live the life that I always lived as a pharmacist. I never wanted to live paycheck to paycheck, but didn't want anything more. I just wanted to be comfortable. But what I really wanted to do was serve the community and make sure that the community was taken care of and was growing and educated. And then through that, like, more opportunities just rolled in. And now it's way beyond or way bigger than I could have ever imagined because I stuck to my why.
Amazing advice. Amazing. Thank you, Martez. Josh, from your experience in the field of marketing and your leadership skills, what is that leadership advice that you would like to give to entrepreneurs out there to take their business to the next level?
I mean, you have your why and your purpose and everything, but then, where a lot of people stop as they freeze up and don't take action. They have that vision, they want to do it, and then they let fear kind of get in the way. And I mean, for me, I think I was fortunate enough to where I never had that fear issue, starting and owning 15 different companies since I was 14. And so, a lot of different ones, and I didn't go into any of them like, oh, is this going to fail? Or what if this happens? Or what if this happens? So, getting that fear out of the way and just taking action and doing it. And then, obviously the passion and the why and all that are there. But you just got to take that first step and just do it, as Nike says.
Great. Just do it. Yeah. Amazing. Colin, your piece of advice because you have so much to share, but that one piece of advice that typically probably you share with maybe within the community, let's say within your network, within your connection, within your friends who is also an entrepreneur, maybe to your friend, what piece of advice that you would like to give?
I would probably say, because I perform this thought experiment a lot. If I had $1 billion, right? And I woke up tomorrow with $1 billion and I literally never had to work another day in my life, how would I spend my time? Right? Maybe I get all the fun out of the way for 3 months and then I get back to reality and realize that's not fulfilling. And so now I have a little less than $1 billion and I still need to do something with my life. I would definitely probably build schools, projects. I would invest in sustainable agricultural products. I would probably do another startup. Maybe I would try to do like an Elon Musk change the world thing, but I would work and I would do something that matters to me. Right. Wonderful. And so the question then is, do I need $1 billion to do that? Or can I do it right now? Right. And then that kind of connects to the why and the purpose and all those things. And I mean, at the end of the day, like whether I had $1 billion now or not, I'm probably gonna be doing something similar to what I'm doing, maybe with slight differences. And I try to make sure that's in my head. If I get sucked into doing things for money, right. Or like, like Martez said, like, be careful, like, because money will draw you into different opportunities or whatever. And I got to always bring it back to what's the core, what's the mission, and what would I do if I had all that money? Well, I get that money and I just come back to doing what I'm doing now. So maybe I just shouldn't do that thing at all, And then I will say, not everybody should be an entrepreneur. I totally used to think that everybody could be, but I don't agree with that at all. Like I've seen so many friends over the years, and I always try to encourage them to do something, whatever. Like I think everyone could maybe be a freelancer or have like entrepreneurial kind of lifestyle, right? Especially with the internet. But I don't think everybody needs to like hardcore start a business and go into debt and go through all those dark times. Cause like it is brutal. People have no idea how brutal it is. And it's like you have a weird addiction to it. Like you're either born an entrepreneur in some cases and you just have no other option, right? Like kind of like it was for me. Or, you know, you can find another path. There's a lot of other ways to live life, and it doesn't always involve owning a business and having employees.
Great. Amazing. So we have like, I think these 4 advices are very, very unique, and all of them kind of resonate with today's scenario. I really want to say thank you so much for taking out time today and sharing these insights. I think the key takeaways that I picked up from this panel discussion today, what Eric has mentioned about having that strong purpose and the mission to empower community, and how it can go a long way in kind of growing your business. So that's excellent thought that Eric has shared. What Martez has mentioned about kind of education and empowerment, and how it can be rewarding for the business ultimately in the long run, and how it can come back to you. So that's a great piece of advice. So if you kind of marry both of them, your purpose and your mission, it can have wonderful results. What Josh has mentioned is very, very unique. He mentioned something about fear. Once you get rid of fear, everything will fall in its place. I mean, I think that's one of the doubt that creeps in every time, because I think it looks so difficult in the beginning, but once we start doing it, how ultimately the fear kind of vanishes and things start to happen. So that's a great piece of advice for not just for entrepreneurs, but for businesses in general. And what Colin has mentioned also struck a chord with me in terms of you have to do it step by step, and kind of make sure that you know why you're doing it. And because I think business is like a marathon, it's not a sprint. So we have to keep on doing things at a steady pace and keep on growing, so that ultimately in the long run we are able to achieve those objectives that we have thought of. So with this, we have come to an end of this panel discussion, and thank you so much, Eric, for taking out time today and joining this unique panel discussion. Thank you so much, Martez. Thank you so much, Josh. Thank you so much, Colin. I'll be sharing the recording of this panel discussion video with all of you soon, which you can share it further. And we would love to learn more about what you're doing in your business, and kind of work with you as well. So thank you so much, and
Thanks, everybody.
stay safe and have a great weekend ahead. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks, guys. See you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.